Hello and welcome back to the STARNES'S storeroom. Today we're discussing 3 helmets that were used in the Persian Gulf War. The Pasget helmet began to be developed by the US Army Systems Center not long after the Vietnam War. It went under many trials and eventually it saw its first combat in Grenada. By the end of the 1980s, it almost completely replaced the M1 helmet. During the Gulf War, the Pasget helmet saw widespread use throughout all US forces. This would be the first time the 6-colour chocolate chip cover would be seen in use by soldiers. These were often accompanied with M44 goggles, cat's eyes, and a metal or cloth rank badge. The design of the shell is made from 19 layers of ballistic aramid fabric, treated with a phenolic resin system, and is rated at a threat level 3A. This offers protection against shrapnel and ballistic threats. It has a suspension webbing that is attached directly with 6 screws and nuts. A small leather headband is attached with a clip around the suspension. This allowed a good fit for the user and kept them cool. The Pasget helmet has a 2-point chin strap, which are attached with screws left and right, adjusting buckles and a snap button for the user to quickly remove the helmet. Although the helmet was developed through independent trials, people often believe it was somewhat of a copy of the German Stahlhelm because of its shape and design. This has led to it being called the Fritz helmet. It has also been referred to as the Kevlar, the K-pot, which is a callback to the M1 being called the Steel Pot. In my opinion, it's a fairly good and effective helmet, not too heavy and only weighing around 4 pounds, so it's quite comfortable to wear. The Mark VI helmet was introduced into service in the mid-1980s. This was considered to be a huge improvement from the previous helmet. This helmet also saw wide use by the British Armed Forces in the Gulf War. The Mark VI helmet was manufactured by NP Aerospace and was reported to have an almost unlimited service life by the manufacturer. The Mark VI is often mistakenly thought to be made out of Kevlar, like the Pasget helmet. However, it's actually constructed from ballistic nylon. This provides around a level 2 protection. The Mark VI, in its usual configuration, is a dark green colour. The helmet is one of the first British helmets to use a cover to camouflage the user. This one is in standard desert DPM and were often worn with goggles and unit insignia in the Gulf War. The Mark VI is designed to accept modern ear protection as well as radio headsets and respirators with 2 large bulges on each side to accommodate these. The Mark VI has a fairly comfortable liner with padding at the front and rear of the helmet, which guaranteed the helmet to be secure to the user. The helmet has a 3-point chin strap with a leather-lined chin pad and secured with a snap button which loops through the ring. This also helps secure the helmet very well. Like the Pasget helmet, it's been given nicknames, sometimes referred to as the Battle Bowler, which was a term first used in the Great War for the Brodie helmet. Overall, I think it's an okay helmet, not providing the same level of protection as, say, the Pasget. It's a little on the heavy side given the amount of protection it offers, but it's still a good helmet. The M80 helmet first saw use in Iraq's armed forces in the early 1980s. They were used in the Iran-Iraq War as well as the Gulf War. The M80 helmets were originally designed and produced in South Korea by Hyundai Heavy Department and H&H Didison. Both are Korean companies. Before the introduction of the M80 helmet, Iraq used various steel helmets, which the majority of which were of Soviet origin. The new helmets were of a lightweight composite construction. These helmets are without a shadow of a doubt cheap, inexpensive to purchase from their South Korean makers. The reason for Iraq to purchase such a cheap helmet was the nation's economy was being severely stretched by the war with Iran. It's obvious the M80 took direct inspiration from the US M1 steel helmet, but did have many differences in construction, being made out of compressed layers of fabric coated in plastic. As a direct result of this, it offered the user a very low level of ballistic protection compared to the Pasget and Mark 6 helmet, or even a steel helmet. Because of this poor choice of material, the edges of the helmet tend to fray, revealing the layers of fabric used to construct it. The liner is a direct copy of the post-1972 Rydell liner used in the US M1 helmet. The M80 helmet also used the T1 chin strap. The helmets were sent and supplied in a dark green paint, but would be often painted over in a desert tan colour. With not all that much use, the desert paint would flake off, revealing the original dark green underneath, which you can quite clearly see here. So that's the M80. Not many good things to say about this one really. It's a very poor build quality and only provides a very limited amount of protection. So I really don't rate these. I suppose one thing you can say though is they're very light for a combat helmet, unlike the Pasget and Mark 6. So it's a little bit more comfortable weight-wise, but that's about it really. Well, that's that anyway. These were the 3 helmets that were used in the Gulf War. There were other helmets obviously used in the conflict, and we will be discussing them in a later video. The next video we're going to be doing though is going to be discussing World War II weaponry, so I'll see you then.